They charged into hell with green flags flying high, armed with courage, not just muskets. The Irish Brigade became legends, not just soldiers. But what made these immigrant warriors so fiercely loyal to a country not yet theirs? In the blood-soaked fields of the American Civil War, a unique force emerged, the Irish Brigade. Composed mostly of Irish immigrants, they fought with unmatched valor, earning both glory and devastating losses. This is the forgotten story of men who fought for America while longing for Ireland's freedom. Their story is not just about battle. It's about identity, loyalty, and sacrifice. From Antietam's killing fields to Gettysburg's rocky hills, the Irish Brigade left an immortal legacy written in both blood and pride. The Irish Brigade was formed in 1861, made up predominantly of Irish Catholic immigrants. Many had fled famine and persecution in Ireland, only to volunteer for another war, this time for the Union cause. Their identity, symbolized by green flags and Gaelic slogans, unified them beyond national boundaries. Led by Brigadier General Thomas Francis Marr, a former Irish revolutionary, the brigade embraced both Irish nationalism and American loyalty. Marr envisioned this unit not only as a fighting force but as a symbol of Irish dignity in America. His charisma attracted thousands of volunteers from New York and beyond. Each regiment of the brigade had its own character. The 69th New York Infantry, known as the Fighting 69th, became its backbone. Veterans of earlier battles, they brought both experience and an unshakable pride in their heritage. Their chaplains and priests were also central figures, offering spiritual strength and national unity. Religion played a vital role. Unlike many Union regiments, the Irish Brigade was Catholic-dominated. Chaplains marched alongside soldiers, providing last rites amid cannon fire. Their unique cultural traditions, funeral processions, Gaelic prayers, infused the brigade with an identity that set them apart from others on the battlefield. The brigade's uniform bore a dark green trim, a nod to their Irish roots. They proudly carried Irish green silk flags into combat, often alongside the stars and stripes. This dual symbolism reflected their dual allegiance, to their new homeland and their ancient culture, never truly separated in their hearts. Recruitment surged thanks to Irish newspapers, community leaders, and churches. Enlisting in the brigade became a source of pride among Irish immigrants. Many saw it as a path to proving their loyalty and earning equality in a nation where anti-Irish sentiment still ran strong across many regions. The Irish Brigade trained intensely in New York before heading to war. Their drills often included Irish marching songs and traditional bagpipes. These weren't merely exercises, they were rituals of bonding, pride, and cultural resistance. To them, war was not just duty, it was legacy and honor. Their fighting spirit was rooted in ancestral memory, generations of Irish warriors who resisted British occupation. Though fighting in America, they imagined themselves striking back against colonial injustice. Many believed a strong Irish presence in the U.S. military would one day help liberate Ireland from British control. By the time the brigade joined the Army of the Potomac, it was already famous for its spirit. Officers praised its unity and discipline. Newspapers wrote of its noble mission. Yet few foresaw the scale of the slaughter that awaited these proud men in battles to come. The Battle of Antietam in September 1862 would define the Irish Brigade forever. Ordered into the infamous Bloody Lane, they faced withering Confederate fire. Advancing over dead comrades, they kept marching forward, green flags raised high. Their losses were staggering, but their courage became immortalized that very day. The brigade charged in column formation, an outdated tactic that increased casualties. They were decimated but never broke. Of 3,000 men, over 540 were killed or wounded in a single morning. Still, their bravery shocked both Union and Confederate generals who had doubted the resolve of immigrant soldiers. With bayonets fixed, they stormed through musket volleys and cannon blasts. The fields turned crimson, bodies stacked 3 deep. Yet the Irish song still echoed through the smoke. Fáil Balla. Clear the way. Was their battle cry, shouted amid the chaos of one of history's bloodiest days. General Marr, though injured, led from horseback, refusing to abandon his men. His green warhorse was an icon of the brigade. That image, an Irish rebel turned Union general, charging through gunfire, symbolized the complexity of immigrant identity in America's deadliest war. Many never forgot his defiant leadership. Despite their valor, the Irish Brigade failed to break Confederate lines. But their ferocity pinned down enemy forces long enough to prevent reinforcements. Strategically, they helped force Lee's retreat. Symbolically, they became living proof that Irishmen could bleed for the Union cause just as nobly as any native-born. After the battle, chaplains held mass among the dead. Priests moved between corpses, administering last rites. The green flags, stained with blood, were folded and wept over. Survivors believed they had walked through the gates of hell. Antietam became sacred ground, their crucible of valor and martyrdom. Northern newspapers hailed their sacrifice. The New York Times called them the bravest of the brave. Recruitment surged again, despite the casualties. Immigrant communities began seeing the brigade not as expendable foreigners but as heroic Americans who fought and died for the nation's unity and soul. Despite praise, resentment brewed in some Union ranks. Native-born officers complained of favoritism. Anti-Catholic sentiment resurfaced. But the brigade, hardened by fire, cared little. Their loyalty had been sealed at Antietam. For them, it wasn't about public approval, it was about legacy, brotherhood, and justice. The brigade would fight again, but never in the same numbers. Antietam had broken something spiritual. Yet survivors vowed to keep marching under their green flags. They carried not only weapons but memory, of brothers lost, of courage proved, of a field where Irish blood helped shape American freedom. The Irish Brigade's legend grew with every battle. They fought at Fredericksburg and Gettysburg, always at the front, always suffering horrific losses. Their fearlessness became mythic, their green flags a haunting reminder of sacrifice. Even Confederate soldiers respected them. They weren't just men, they were symbols of endurance. The green flags were eventually retired, worn thin from blood and battle. They now rest in museums, holy relics of immigrant valor. Each tear and scorch mark tells a story. Veterans and descendants treat them with reverence, as emblems of a time when identity and loyalty were tested together. Post-war, many Irish Brigade veterans entered politics, journalism, and activism. They shaped American discourse. Their battlefield valor gave them credibility, and they used it to advocate for both immigrant rights and Irish independence. Their war stories became tools of influence, symbols of the Irish-American rise. General Marr's mysterious death in 1867 added to the legend. He fell from a steamboat in Montana. Some believe he was assassinated. Others claim it was an accident. His body was never found. In death, he became myth, part soldier, part martyr, part eternal flame in the Irish-American memory. Monuments across the U.S. commemorate the brigade's sacrifice, from New York to Gettysburg. Statues of Marr and his men stand tall, silent and proud. Schoolchildren pass by them, often unaware of their meaning. Yet those cold granite eyes once saw hell and held the line for a divided nation. In Ireland, their deeds are less remembered, but Irish-American groups keep their legacy alive. Every St. Patrick's Day parade, every Gaelic-themed American ballad, echoes the spirit of the brigade. They were soldiers, yes, but also symbols, of displacement, struggle, and the power of hope in foreign soil. Modern historians now reevaluate their role, not just as fighters, but as cultural icons. The Irish Brigade challenged stereotypes and redefined loyalty. In a time of suspicion toward immigrants, they stood defiant. They demanded a place in the American story, and earned it with blood. Their story resonates today. In every debate on immigration, identity, or loyalty, echoes of the Irish Brigade return. They fought to prove that belonging isn't granted, it's earned. And they earned it, step by step, through fields of fire, with torn flags and shattered limbs, until no one could ignore them. They were more than soldiers. They were a declaration. A promise that even the forgotten, the displaced, and the hated could rise and become heroes. The Irish Brigade didn't just fight for a nation, they helped build it. And in doing so, they etched their names into eternity. The Irish Brigade began as a unit of immigrants and became a legend of sacrifice and identity. From Antietam to Gettysburg, they rewrote what it meant to be American. Their blood stained the Union flag green, forever blending two worlds into one shared legacy. If this story moved you, subscribe to The Forgotten Past. Let us know in the comments, had you ever heard of the Irish Brigade before today? Their story deserves to be remembered.